Hello, my name is Michael Bioli, and I want to talk about the AIMS test today. So, the AIM test was developed to calculate and quantify the degree of mutation caused by a chemical of interest, nutrients, or anything else. The procedures for the AIM test include placing genetically modified bacteria or other organisms who are unable to synthesize a crucial amino acid needed to survive in YPD plates, which we'll talk about later, that lack the nutrient. These bacteria or organisms are generally modified because their DNA has been artificially manipulated to inhibit protein synthesis. The rate of mutation is then calculated by counting the amount of colonies which were able to grow in the medium. The materials needed for an Ames test are a YPD plate that are used as a non-selective growth medium, meaning that anything can grow on them with little difficulty. Then we have mutagen, which in this case I chose thalidomide, which was primarily prescribed against nausea and to alleviate morning sickness in pregnant women. It became an over-the-counter drug and was sold to women in Germany. This then resulted in between 5,000 to 7,000 infants who were born with malformation of the limbs. Yeast is used as a genetically modified organism because it's cost effective and we're able to mutate its DNA easily. Here we have a simple procedure for an Ames test. So we have the organism of interest, which is Salmonella strain that requires histidine to grow, but we genetically modify it to where its DNA doesn't produce any histidine. So after that, we add a mutagen and we plate it in media with no histidine. So after that, we incubate it, and during this time, we observe the amount of colonies that spring up. If we see colonies, then that means mutation has occurred in the Salmonella DNA, which require it to produce histidine again. In the other case, if there is no mutation, then after the incubation period, we'll see a control plate with absolutely no growth. It's really important that each experiment has controls. Here we have 10 bean seeds per pot that have been put in two identical pots. The independent variable is the amount of water we put in each. In one we add water and the other we don't. In the pot where we don't put water is our control group. It's our negative control group. Then we incubate both the pots and we measure the amount of seeds that sprouted. We should expect 0 seeds to sprout in the pot without the water because it's our negative control. But we should see seeds in the other pot. So there's several different agents that cause mutagenesis. One is a chemical, which can be thalidomide, which is, as we discussed before, caused defects in birth. We have UV light from the sun and radiation from X-rays, or if you're traveling in a plane, you're exposed to a certain amount of radiation. These all damage the DNA in some way and can possibly cause a permanent mutation, which leads to cancer sometimes. To apply the mutagen, we use what's called a hockey stick method or a figure eight method. The hockey stick method, as you see in the top left, you have this little stick which is used to spread the contents of your mix. In the previous example, it would have been the salmonella plus the rat liver extract. This is sterilized with 95% alcohol and then lit on fire between each spreading. The figure eight method is if you have a liquid substance, you can just put it on the YPD plate and then move it on the table to where it forms a figure eight, therefore spreading the contents evenly. Incubation, generally, it really depends on what you're trying to grow. But for yeast, the ideal growth temperature for it will be around 30 degrees Celsius. And then to conserve the yeast that has grown, you would put it then at 4 degrees if for some reason you wanted to keep it for a little bit longer. So what this sentence says in results and interpretation, it just means that you would have colonies that you are present on a plate that lacks tryptophan. You divide that by the total colonies on a YPD plate. That gives you the percent of colonies that grew with mutation. So you have two plates. In conclusion, this was a very summarized and brief description of the Ames test. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or contact me through my phone number. Thank you for your attention.